Hi, everyone. How are you? Hope you are well. So, today we're going to talk about Biden's plan to protect renters and what is going on with that. So, this plan is basically designed to protect renters so that you, as the owner, cannot excessively raise the rents. You, as the owner, cannot do discriminatory tenant screenings. You, as the owner, cannot allow information sharing of large corporations, and you, as the owner, cannot do unfair evictions. So, this is the design of this plan, and it is targeting these different key areas. So, I find it interesting that large corporations are doing information sharing on renters. So, that would be interesting to know more details about that. So this plan is prohibiting information sharing of large corporations. So it is noted that there are 44 million renters. So there are plenty of renters out here, 44 million renters. It's also noted that 20 million of those renters, the owner is individual investor. So 20 million of these properties are owned by individual investors, leaving the rest of these millions of people uh, property is not owned by individual investors. So I find that interesting. Perhaps they are owned by banks, hedge funds, you name it. So just to see that the banks and the hedge funds and whoever else is taking up all these millions of properties would indicate how important it is to get into this game of investing. So 20 million is owned by individual investors, and the rest of these millions is owned by other sources. So it's noted that the rent hike has increased by 26% naturally in 2021, increasing the rents by 26%. As you remember, with the pandemic, the federal government banned people from evicting their tenants who were not paying rent. So this prevented 1.5 million households from becoming homeless. Can you imagine 1.5 million households were not paying rent during this pandemic? That is a lot of people. 1.5 million households. So the rent to income ratio is up by 30%, which is higher than more than 20-year history. So the rent to income ratio is 30%. So very high. As of December 2022, 15% of the population is behind in their rent, and the number is $12 billion total rent debit. So there are some organizations that are against Biden's plan. And this is the National Apartment Association, also the AAOA, Advocate for Solutions. And they are against rent control, that the government has a say so in how much you hike the rent. Also, small landlords have a problem with this because they use the rent to pay their own mortgage and their own bills. So some landlords have a problem with it. Also, these two associations that were named, they have a problem with it. So this is not all landlords that have a problem with it, but there is a portion that has a problem with this plan, this new plan to protect renters. So you, as an owner, if you are not currently an owner, you will be an owner. And so just to let you know that the government does have their hand in this. And so to think about, what would you do as an owner if your tenant is not paying rent for 6 months? And so these are some things you can do to prepare yourself for that as a current investor and or as a future investor. You will be. So some of those things are keeping reserves on hand. So having reserves set aside for just in case. Those reserves, they should be anywhere from 3 months to 6 months, whatever you could do. It's good to start out small so that you can save those reserves for a situation like this. For instance, a tenant hasn't paid rent in 6 months. Reserves. Another option is Section 8. With Section 8, this is guaranteed rent. So it doesn't matter if the tenant pays or not. You're still going to get your rent every month if you have a Section 8 tenant. So guaranteed rent with Section 8, that is another option. And then thinking of multiple streams of income, of course. So you have multiple streams of income. So this one goes down. So you still have these. Instead of banking on one, which we tend to do, and that one being a job usually, and then they take that. So instead of this scenario going on, you have this scenario going on. So creating multiple streams, working on a stream every day. So are you working on a stream? What stream are you working on every day besides the job? As you know, this is not good enough. So what stream are you working on? So those are some of the options in the event that your tenant is not paying rent and the government has their hand in it. So we saw from the pandemic that you own the property, but guess who is the boss? The boss is the government. They told you that you are not evicting your tenant. So these are good situations to happen because it kind of opens your mind to things that you need to do to prepare yourself for different types of situations. And so I just mentioned before, having extra reserves, Section 8 tenant, multiple streams of income, and of course, there are other things. So just something to keep in mind. This is Biden's new plan to protect the renters. Again, it is designed so that you will not be doing excessive rate hikes. You will not be doing discriminatory tenant screenings. Discrimination is very real, right? You will not be doing discriminatory tenant screenings. You will not be doing allowing information sharing by large corporations. I find that one to be interesting. And then unfair evictions. So this is a part of the plan, Biden's plan, and then just something to give you some things to think about, to protect yourself if this happens. If this happens, then you have this plan. This happens, you have this plan. So just some things to think about. If you like the channel, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and notification bell next to it so that you won't miss the episode. Leave your comment. Let me know your thoughts. Also, if you're not in the stock market, get in the stock market. And if you're interested in building a rental portfolio, check out the real estate group. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your nights.